Oh, sorry. That's for a Democrat show.
No matter what the technical difficulty is, this man is a professional. He goes all the way.
What you represent to them is freedom.
Was an extremely great conservative commentator. We're tearing it up on Wednesday night. This is awesome. This will allow me to retort.
Well, this is Jersey Joe for the Reverb Common Sense Show. 8 p.m. on shrmedia.com.
This show contains language that some viewers may find offensive. Listener discretion is advised. And now on to the show. I hate buttons. It seems I screwed up. What we're here for is there's been a attack in Orlando, Florida. There is 50 people killed, about 53 injured, so that number of deaths can rise up. This is being linked to terrorism. It is being linked to the shooter being Omar Mateen. His father has already held a press conference apologizing for his son's actions. Of course, they're saying the father is trying to say it has nothing to do with religion. This does not shock me, as extreme jihadist Muslims do not like the gay and lesbian community. In fact, over in the Middle East, it's not uncommon for trials to be held for people with the sexual orientation other than straight to be murdered. It's very common that they're thrown off high-rise buildings. So it doesn't come to as a shock, because I have discussed it. ISIS put a threat out 3 days ago saying there was going to be attacks in the state of Florida. At the beginning of Ramadan, ISIS said there was going to be attacks. They called on people to attack the United States and Europe. So this doesn't come as a surprise. To put bluntly, it has me a little scared today. This attack only happened about 45 minutes to an hour, depending on how you drive and the exact inner location of the place. I am almost in Tampa, but I can make Walt Disney World in under 45 minutes. That's how close this attack has happened to home. It kind of brings back feelings for the attacks in New York City, as I wasn't that far away when those attacks went down from where I lived before. We already hear some on the left are admitting our Senator Bill Nelson, Democrat in the state of Florida, has said that he can confirm that it is terrorist attack. He is being told by his experts within the terrorist community that it is a terrorist attack. I'm trying to pull up C-SPAN right now, so I'm sorry if I'm getting a little quiet. It's a very fluid situation. It's ever moving, ever changing. There we go. So hopefully it lets me in. There we go. I think I got C-SPAN up and working. I got a new provider in my area, so I'm not sure exactly. All right, I do have C-SPAN up and running. And, let me play. It's It's ever changing, but we already do hear some on the left trying to make this a gun issue, which I'm not going to touch too much on that because it's. I don't find that appropriate to be bringing that up right now at a time like this. And that's one of the problems we're having as a country. We need to learn to call these attacks as they are. And actually, hang on. Sackhead Sean just posted a video. So give me 1 second. I'm trying to check. Real quick, I want to touch on some of the laws and regulations real quick in Florida. And it goes to these terrorists are not going to follow any law. So it's we need to we need to look at this head on and stop being scared to talk about it and to call it what it is. This is not all Muslims are attacking us. This is a specific faction, and they have declared war on us. Whether we like it or not, they declared war on us. We cannot ignore this. But in the state of Florida, by statutes, it is illegal to carry a gun in any portion of an establishment licensed to dispense alcohol beverage for consumption. All right. Just checking. I was told Obama's getting ready to speak. So I'll play Sean's video afterwards. No matter what the laws are, we have a faction of people, and I don't care whether it's wrapped around a religion or not. This group has been waging war against us. These are extremist, jihadist Muslims. That is what they call themselves. That's what I will recognize them as. They have declared war on us. They have attacked us in Orlando, Florida. They have attacked the gay and lesbian and transgender community. This is unacceptable. Just because we are conservatives doesn't mean that we don't have a heart and we don't care. I do. And it's sickening about the attack. We've been warning about these attacks. We knew these types of attacks would be coming up. But to give a little bit of background, Omar Mateen, registered Democrat, very heavily anti-gay. He has passed all the background checks in the state of Florida. Yes, in the state of Florida, to own a gun, you need background checks. And on top of it, he was a security guard in the state of Florida, which means he carried a D license and a G license. D license is the security guard license, which has a background check. Then you must get a G license to be a carrying a firearms security guard. It's a G license. That is a more extensive background check. And now there is information coming out that this gentleman was investigated multiple times by the FBI. There is information pointing to his father was investigated by the FBI, but times elapsed and cases were closed due to those time restraints. Again, we're waiting for Obama to come out and address this. And I'm kind of scared because we've kind of seen where it's going. The left are going to try to make this a gun control issue, where this is not a gun violence issue. This is a group of people that have declared war on us. We have been attacked again, and we need to respond appropriately. Like I said, this is all going is a very fluid situation. Again, ISIS gave us warning on this. And I know we can't act on every single warning because of the fact that we'd be jumping through hoops. I'm just going over information, so if I'm a little quiet for a moment, I do apologize. I found an interesting quote today, and it kind of fits. You may not be interested in war, but war is interested in you. And that's what's going on. We have... Hang on 1 second. Hold on. All right, just give me 1 second. We have Crash calling in, and he had lived in Orlando for over a year, so he might have a little bit more information, kind of like the area. I'm just getting them plugged into the system until we have Obama speaking. You there, Crash? Crash?
Yeah.
All right, you're there. I don't know if you know, but I wanted you to bring you in because you had lived in Orlando for a year. There's actually been a terrorist attack in Orlando. An extremist went into a gay and lesbian nightclub and so far has killed 50 people, wounded 53 more people, and he is dead after an exchange of gunfire with the police.
Jesus Christ. We're in Orlando. You know the location?
I can get it for you in a second. It was an area they were just rebuilding, and they built it up to a nice neighborhood. Yes, and the nightclub was rebuilt, and is a gay and lesbian nightclub. Yeah, it scares the shit out of me right now because. I mean, that's 45 minutes, roughly, to an hour from my house.
If it's in the area that I'm thinking of, that's an area that I used to... I had family that lived down there for over a decade. I lived down there for a year or two. If it's where I'm thinking it was, that's an area that I used to go to, not that club, but just, that general area. That's very, very populated, common area for a lot of people that live in and around Orlando.
I'm trying to... It's going to take me a minute. But yes, I didn't know if you knew it or not, but yeah.
No, I've been...
Oh, here's a new bit of information that is being posted on CNN. The Orlando gunman had called 911 and pledged allegiance to ISIS.
There's a shocker.
Well, I'm trying to stay off of it as much as I can. But the left is now trying to make this a gun control issue because
surprise, surprise.
He had a AR-15 as one of the weapons of choice.
Okay, and tens of thousands of people own that exact same goddamn platform and use it for the purpose of target shooting, hunting, recreational shooting, competition, and all avenues legal. But one moron, everybody gets crucified? I've had it with this freaking gun control topic. Sorry.
I feel the same way.
I knew it was going to go down that road. They always do. It's just happened, and they're already on that bandwagon?
It started at 2:02 was when there was a security... The security officer for the nightclub was an off-duty police officer. So he called it in immediately as a...
active shooter?
Yeah, as it was going down, and I think the final shootout happened right around 5 o'clock. Real quick, it was, the name of the club is Pulse. It was a Pulse nightclub. 1912 South Orange Avenue in Orlando, Florida.
Yep, I know where that's at. I know the area. I don't think that was a club that was there when I lived down there, but I know that area. South Orange had a lot. Well, at least when I was there was a lot of clubs on that route, all different types. I mean, anything from adult entertainment to just normal, bar and grill type establishment.
I'm looking at the map right now. I know about the area where it is too.
But that was also an area a lot of tourists also go there.
Yeah.
Because it's definitely all adult oriented. I mean, whether it's a bar and grill or it's adult entertainment or it's alternative lifestyle, it didn't matter. But you could kind of get your pick of whatever environment you wanted to be in that night. You could go there. So a lot of tourists go to that area as well.
It is literally
surprising why
2 blocks away from UF Health Cancer Center. It's a hospital. It's like 2 blocks away from one of the hospitals. I know the patients weren't taken there, but they were taken to the trauma center in Orlando.
Yeah, well, given the type of injuries and stuff like that, it would make more sense. Not to mention, even the trauma center, what'd you say, 60-some wounded? That would overflood a trauma. Even
53.
Level 1, that would overflood them damn near immediately.
Well, they are very, very low on blood, and they're trying to get people to
donate.
Well, the other problem they now have is so many people are lined up that they're actually calling for people to donate some chairs, water, food, because it's hot, it's Florida, it's daytime, and the people are standing in line for hours. It is unbelievable the amount of people that have stepped up and are donating blood because O negative, O positive, and AB is the other one that they are looking for.
They're looking for universal donors and the rare blood types.
But the one thing they did say is don't go to the hospitals, go to these centers.
Yeah. Well, they're better. Right now the hospitals, they can do the donations, but they got their hands full of other things. The donation centers, that is their sole purpose. They can, and they shuttle the stuff straight to the hospital right after it's been properly processed and bagged. They'll get it over there damn near immediately.
Yeah, they have some specialists being brought in right now to the hospitals that are more vascular surgeons that can deal with that aspect. I know it's bad to say, but I'm actually shocked that CNN is posting that this guy was pro-ISIS, that he pledged allegiance to ISIS. And I got to say, lately, it seems like CNN is actually trying to do some reportings. They still have some leanings, but I have seen them where they're trying to actually report some news, and this is one of them, and it's horrendous. I cannot believe that this happened. Especially Friday night, there was another shooting in Orlando where some nut job shot some woman that won America's Got Talent or something like. She was a singer that won one of the contests.
Oh yeah, she was. She won The Voice.
The Voice, okay.
And she had just finished one. I think she had just finished one, and she was getting ready. She was going to be doing another one. She was at a book signing, and some nut job came in, I believe, and it was her brother that ended up tackling the guy and keeping him from shooting anybody else, but wasn't able to save his sister.
But it makes me wonder, 2 shootings in 2 nights? What's the chances?
Both public, both with some type of media draw to them, whether it's due to publicity or, nobody wants to say it, but alternative lifestyles, that is something that is you go and you shoot up, good old-fashioned bar and grill, like you'd find on any corner, right?
Yep.
Small bar. Somebody goes in there with an AR and starts shooting the place up. Is that going to get the same media coverage as a place that is specifically for the LGBT community?
Probably not.
No.
But then again, the media nowadays. Since we got a couple minutes, I'm going to play something real quick because I know I dropped this on your lap with no warning, but I appreciate you calling in.
No, that's fine.
Is Sackhead Sean put up a post of a modus operandi is someone's habit of working, particularly in the context of business or criminal investigation. The MO, that's what it actually stands for. But he put up a video about this attack, and I'm going to play it. If I can get the video or sound working. I'm an idiot. I forgot to take that off mute. There we go. Whoa.
That's okay. It's only your weekend off, so, you know.
Yeah. So here it comes right now.
The first things criminal investigators look at when there's any sort of incident is the motive, the MO. They want to know why somebody did it. Usually the methodology, the type, the tools, all that's secondary. It's the motivation that causes people to commit crimes, horrific acts, and terrorism. There are people already trying to push their anti-gun narrative in the wake of the Orlando attack, where a guy who even the FBI admits within 12 hours of the attack had Islamic leanings and is a target of possibly 2 separate investigations. It occurs during the holy month of Ramadan, where ISIS has encouraged jihadists to launch attacks. It comes less than 3 days after people pointed to Florida as a potential terrorist attack based on some of the writings of ISIS and jihad. I'm completely disgusted and horrified for the victims in Florida. My heart weeps for them. We as a nation weep for them.
And what he talks about is, within 12 hours, the FBI is already telling us that this man had some investigation into him. Are you there, Crash?
FBI's already investigating this guy.
Oh, they already had him at least 2 investigations into him. From what I'm understanding, one of them had to be shut down because time frame elapsed on the investigation and they had to shut it down. And the second one was started, and now there's some talk that his father is also, or was also, under investigation. I mean, the FBI has said this is a terrorist attack already. Then they walked it back a little bit and said they can't say anything until they notify the family, but yet the father has already given a press conference.
The father of the perpetrator?
The shooter. The shooter's father already came out and talked. Held a press conference.
And said what?
He apologizes. His son had seen 2 gay guys kissing in Miami, and it set him off. This has nothing to do with religion.
And let me guess the religion.
Yes, it is Muslim. His parents are from Afghanistan.
I don't mean to sound like a bigot, but no. I'm sorry. I'll call a spade a spade.
That's why they're calling it a terrorist attack also. I mean, what is the terrorists that are attacking us now? And as I've said, it's not all Muslims that are doing it. It is a small faction. It's a faction of them. But we need to, as a nation... I mean, if you have cancer, you don't go around saying, well, yeah, it's a big bump in my chest that is giving me problems, and we can't cure it right now or cut it out because it's spreading, but I can't say the C word. No, to cure the issue, you have to...
acknowledge it.
Yeah, acknowledge it. Thank you. And we're not as a country right now. We have this excuses flying, which is disgusting. I mean, the shooting just happened. We need to be worried about, number one, is there anybody else involved? Is there any other attacks planned? That's number one issue. Number two, the victims. The families need to be taken care of. Our governor has already stepped up, declared state of emergency in Orlando, and has opened all resources of the state to the victims.
Good.
Yeah. He was in Orlando real quick and talking. We had our Senator Bill Nelson, Democrat, who came out and said that he's talked to people within the intelligence community and that sit on the intelligence board, and they've already told him this is terror-related, and he said that. But then you have these Alan Grayson and another state politician, I don't know what her name was, they went on the anti-gun kick, which it really disgusts me that you're going to do that right now out of anything.
And the thing is, it doesn't, it's not even related. I mean, that's the screwed up thing. And there's been more than enough evidence to show that the anti-gun kick and that whole movement and pushing for more regulation, adding additional regulation to the law-abiding citizen doesn't stop the person that wants to perpetrate a crime. It has zero bearing on them.
I want to interject on some information for you. I don't mean to cut you off, but
Go.
Okay, Florida, it is a background check state. Number 2, he was a armed security guard, which means he had a D license and a G license with the state. So he had to pass a background check already with a D license, which is basically equal to what they do for guns. But because he was going to be an armed security guard and had that G license, he went through even more background checks because he was going to be an armed security officer. So he not only passed what a normal resident, citizen, he went further with the background check. I mean, the state did, and nothing popped up. I'd like to know why the FBI didn't flag it with him being involved in 2 investigations.
Well, now that actually makes me more curious. And it makes me curious on the aspect of, okay, we keep talking about let's add more regulations. Why are the ones currently in place non-effective? How did nothing, I mean, if the guy was under investigation and all this stuff was going to that level, why wasn't even, I mean, just a simple notation of anything, just any flag thrown? Why?
There's another thing that just popped up, breaking news on CNN. A suspect has been arrested at L.A. Pride Festival after authorities find weapons and explosives in his car. That just popped up in L.A.
Now it's almost sounding more coordinated.
Yeah, it is. I mean, ISIS declared that it wanted these attacks. And this weekend is a very much of a gay pride event that happens all over the country. It's real big in Orlando, they said, and New York. And I guess L.A. has something going on. And now there's attacks going, you know, they intercepted an attack. It seems like they might have had information about this was going down. And since this happened, they really looked into what's happening elsewhere, or they heard some kind of chatter that was going on. I'm
Yeah, exactly. It's just sad. I mean, honestly, the worst part about all this is the thing that I actually really feel worst about is the fact that you're going to have the focus on the extremist group, and you're going to have the focus on, you know, people are already jumping on the anti-gun bandwagon and all that. You know what? There's 50-some people dead, 50-some odd more injured. I mean, that's well over 100 people, not including the families being affected. And how much focus is really going to be geared towards them? That's the shame.
Yeah, that is, and that's where it needs to be.
One person is going to get all the focus, just like every other time one of these things happen. The perpetrator gets all the focus for months, years. Yet the victims, they're nameless the entire time. There's no focus on them. What did they do wrong to deserve this? Absolutely nothing.
And you know that touches home with me because I saw that firsthand with my dad's shooting. I mean, you always see the perpetrator plastered all over the news, and you never see it. The victims get no coverage. They get no help, and half the time they get screwed over because they were in the wrong place at the wrong time.
Yeah. You know what? They want to talk about fixing the system or putting in new regulations. How about we fix the ones that are already there? Obviously, the current background check system is not doing enough. Okay, obviously the system that we have isn't doing enough. So we're letting people out of jail that have committed violent crimes because we're saying they're overwhelmed. Well, stop putting people in prison that really haven't done anything and keep the ones there. The people like this, they're the ones that should be staying in jail. How many times have we heard about the repeat offender?
Yeah.
He's already been arrested 20 times. He's had charges against him 10 times for similar acts. So why the hell is he on the street? I'm sorry, after a certain point...
Well, the scary part is...
Come on.
Now I lost my thought. And they're releasing all these violent criminals. They're trying to make this sound like it is... Well, the guy was born and raised in the United States. He is an American citizen, technically. His parents were from Afghanistan. That still does not say he cannot be one of these extremists. And I mean, as soon as you do these attacks like this, this is the second largest attack on U.S. soil from terrorists since 9/11. I don't care where the guy's from. He could be from Timbuktu.
We've already proven that U.S. citizens, generational U.S. citizens, their families came here generations ago. They were born and raised here. They've been sympathizing with this group. They've converted over. They've traveled there. They've picked up arms against their own citizens. So it really doesn't matter where you were born, where you were raised. It's the ideology.
Yeah.
And nothing's being done. I mean, the only thing that's being done is we're being told, be more tolerant, be more tolerant, be more tolerant. I'm not going to be so goddamn tolerant of a freaking wild animal trying to get into my yard, eating my freaking food. There's only so much tolerance I'm going to have before I'm going to shoot the SOB.
Yeah. The
sorry.
ex-wife of the Orlando shooter said that he beat her regularly. And we have Obama's getting ready for his press conference. His people are standing out there right now. We are going to go live to it as soon as we can, as soon as it comes up. I do want to carry it. We got to do something. The only way to do it is we have to go head on with this. We can't keep running around in circles and trying to play, well,
sticking
maybe
our
if
goddamn heads in the sand.
And I gave a quote earlier, and I'm going to give it again. And I know quotes don't help anything, but this one really is something that you really need to sink in and think. You may not be interested in war, but war is interested in you. And that's what's going on. They declared war on us. No matter how much we want to deny it, they declared war. They are bringing war against us.
I got one for you. If you want peace, prepare for war.
Yeah. Yeah, I know that one.
I'm sorry. It's a sad truth, but it...
Mm-hmm.
Unfortunately, if you want something, hey, guess what? Whether it's you want a better job or you want peace or you want freedom, if you want something, you have to be prepared to work for it and fight for it, to obtain it and then continue to hold it. Unfortunately, as a society, Americans have lost sight of that, and we're losing it. We are losing it.
Yeah, we're losing this war, and it's because...
And the problem is, I'm sure we won't completely lose it in my generation. I fear for my children and my grandchildren. Those are the ones that they are going to pay the price for us, for our ignorance and our lack of action. The next generation, our kids are going to be the ones paying the heavy, heavy price.
Yeah.
That's unacceptable to me.
I'm just... It's hard to just... There's only so much you could say about this, and it's... We got to face this head on, and the next president really has to stop this head in the sand. If we get them jobs or if we send them love, they'll stop attacking us. No, that's what they're counting on right now. They love seeing this because it's showing weakness. It's allowing them to do whatever they want at their pace, at their time. And I've said it on my show plenty of times. Number one, if we're not attacking them, they have the ability to sit back, plan, and attack. If we're attacking, and I'm not talking this pissant little airstrikes, because that they don't have to defend against. They just have to dodge the incoming bombs. I know that sounds stupid, but really it's not that much of an attack against them. So they're able to keep up on the offensive. All right, hold on. President's coming out to speak right now. We're going to go to him.
Today, as Americans, we grieve the brutal murder, a horrific massacre of dozens of innocent people.
Can you hear me?
Yeah,
Pray for their
but you're on the
families
air.
who are grasping for answers
I'm going
with
to call you
broken
back in about
hearts.
5 minutes, all right?
Okay.
We stand with the people of Orlando who have endured a terrible attack on their city. Although it's still early in the investigation, we know enough to say that this was an act of terror and an act of hate. And as Americans, we are united in grief, in outrage, and in resolve to defend our people. I just finished a meeting with FBI Director Comey and my Homeland Security and National Security advisors. The FBI is on scene and leading the investigation in partnership with local law enforcement. I've directed that the full resources of the federal government be made available for this investigation. We are still learning all the facts. This is an open investigation. We've reached no definitive judgment on the precise motivations of the killer. The FBI is appropriately investigating this as an act of terrorism, and I've directed that we must spare no effort to determine what, if any, inspiration or association this killer may have had with terrorist groups. What is clear is that he was a person filled with hatred. Over the coming days, we will uncover why and how this happened, and we will go wherever the facts lead us. This morning I spoke with my good friend Orlando Mayor Buddy Dyer, and I conveyed to him the deepest condolences of the American people. This could have been any one of our communities. So I told Mayor Dyer that whatever help he and the people of Orlando need, they are going to get it. As a country, we will be there for the people of Orlando today, tomorrow, and for all the days to come. We also express our profound gratitude to all the police and first responders who rushed to harm's way. Their courage and professionalism saved lives and kept the carnage from being even worse. It's the kind of sacrifice that our law enforcement professionals make every single day for all of us, and we can never thank them enough. This is an especially heartbreaking day for all of our friends, our fellow Americans who are lesbian, gay, bisexual, or transgender. The shooter targeted a nightclub where people came together to be with friends, to dance and to sing and to live. The place where they were attacked is more than a nightclub. It is a place of solidarity and empowerment where people have come together to raise awareness, to speak their minds, and to advocate for their civil rights. So this is a sobering reminder that attacks on any American, regardless of race, ethnicity, religion, or sexual orientation, is an attack on all of us and on the fundamental values of equality and dignity that define us as a country. And no act of hate or terror will ever change who we are or the values that make us Americans. Today marks the most deadly shooting in American history. The shooter was apparently armed with a handgun and a powerful assault rifle. This massacre is therefore a further reminder of how easy it is for someone to get their hands on a weapon that lets them shoot people in a school or in a house of worship or a movie theater or in a nightclub. And we have to decide if that's the kind of country we want to be. And to actively do nothing is a decision as well. In the coming hours and days, we'll learn about the victims of this tragedy. Their names, their faces, who they were, the joy that they brought to families and to friends, and the difference that they made in this world. Say a prayer for them. and say a prayer for their families. That God give them the strength to bear the unbearable. And that he give us all the strength to be there for them and the strength and courage to change. We need to demonstrate that we are defined more as a country by the way they live their lives than by the hate of the man who took them from us. As we go together, we will draw inspiration from heroic and selfless acts. Friends who helped friends, took care of each other, and saved lives. In the face of hate and violence, we will love one another. We will not give in to fear or turn against each other. Instead, we will stand united as Americans to protect our people and defend our nation and to take action against those who threaten us. May God bless the Americans we lost this morning. May He comfort their families. May God continue to watch over this country that we love. Thank you.
So there you see the president making about a 5.5-minute statement at the White House.
And we're back live here on SHR Media and High Plains Pundit Radio. That was the president discussing today's events on the Orlando shooting. And I believe we have Crash back. Are you there, Crash?
Yes.
All right.
Yes.
Now, the president did he did call it terrorism. He did condemn the act. He did speak about some things. I'm pretty sure he didn't want to. He did try to go the route about the gun control, which I don't really want to discuss today. Today is not the day really to discuss that. And the only reason I'm bringing it up is because that's one of the things that he went to, and certain groups are going to. It just
now, look, the thing is, I completely agree with you. Today's not the day for that conversation. The problem is they're trying to overwork. They're doing the same thing they've done in the past, and this is all I'm going to say on it. They're playing on public opinion and sympathy for the victims, and they're using that to push their agenda.
Yeah.
And honestly, I find it completely distasteful, and if anything, it's driving me farther and farther away from ever supporting any politician along those lines.
Exactly. And again, some of this information is so fluid, it changes and everything. But what I have found is Omar Martin, who is the shooter, his father, who is Afghan, supported the Taliban and ran for president of Afghanistan before coming to the United States. He is blaming the shooting on two gay guys kissing in Miami that threw his son into a tizzy. And I'm sorry, if your son got thrown into a tizzy that goddamn easy, there was something wrong with him. I'm tired of that whole argument with the gays. Listen, I don't care who you sleep with.
If seeing an act like that is going to throw you into a tizzy, don't live in, move to, or assimilate to a country that supports the rights of everybody. Just the same as I support their rights to be devout Muslim or very strict or Amish or whatever you want to call it, I support their rights just the same as I support the rights for two men or two women to have relations with one another.
Yep.
I may not have to agree with or like, however, that is this country. If you don't like it, move the hell out. Don't use it as a freaking excuse for a stupid act and use it as justification for being a complete, I hope you're going to censor this show, asshole.
No,
Sorry.
There's never no censorship, and I never will. The one thing I also want to point out.
I'm sorry. Disclaimer. Put the disclaimer up.
Killing those 50 people and wounded 53 people and being a single attacker, no Joe Schmo off the street can just go do that. I'm sorry. That takes extensive training to handle that. Either that, and I'm not saying there is, if you don't go in with a high amount of training, there has to be more than one person doing the shooting to get those numbers in that short amount of time. But, we're getting firsthand account there was only one shooter. So he was highly trained. Not just not even security-wise. Security doesn't train you for that. The G class, I could tell you right now in the state of Florida, tells you the law and tells you what not to do to keep yourself out of trouble. That's what the class teaches you. You go to the range for one day, you do some qualifying, and that's it. There's no tactical training. To do what he did, he had to have tactical training from somewhere.
Oh, I was already thinking, you figure what? 50 and 50, right? Those were the approximate counts?
Yeah.
Right? Okay. So that's 100 victims from gunfire.
You're talking
okay?
4 mags.
Even somebody who is trained generally is not, in a situation like that, it's not going to be one shot, one hit, one person.
Exactly.
So you figure he had to have at least twice that amount, which puts him at 200 rounds just to be able to put 2 shots per person.
He also had a handgun on
miss.
him. He had a handgun on him.
So,
and I do want to correct one thing.
honestly,
I think it's being surmised that he had an AR because the police and most reports are saying a long gun was used. And everybody, I think, is jumping to the fact of an AR-15.
Wait. Any rifle is considered a long gun.
I know that.
A 30-30 is a long gun. A freaking lever action is a long. Are you kidding me?
I know, but
so the
I think
police report states long gun, and everybody's. Wow, I guess I should be shocked.
But he also had a handgun on him at the same time. So, but still, he went into a gunfight with the police. So there was shots fired back and forth. There's video outside of the gunfire going back and forth.
Well, here's something I'd like to point out real quick, and this is just, I don't know if it puts it in perspective or whatever, but it's something I want to point out. They're saying this was at an LBGT club, right?
Yes.
So, gays, lesbians, trans, whatever. Okay, alternative lifestyle, if that's what you want to use. I don't care what terminology you want to use. All right, so he's saying that he was targeting these people because he saw 2 guys kiss. Well, hey, guess what? Not everybody that goes into one of those clubs actually subscribes to that lifestyle. Some of them just happen to enjoy the company, but they are completely straight. Some of them are just, maybe they're curious, or some of them, they could have a friend, and they're just there hanging out because of a party. So not every single one of those victims was necessarily asking for it, because I know that's what some people are jumping on. They were just the same as the rest of us. Every single one of them is the same as the rest of us. They were going out, they were trying to have a good time, they were enjoying their day, and then they got it ruined.
There's a lot of people that
other than some asshole doing something.
Well, there's people that are against what me and you used to do, going to the strip clubs. They're against that. I mean, very well.
You could be against it, don't go.
I know, but very easily that could have happened. Us going there, someone could have went in.
Strip clubs.
But
Christ, I'll even flat out say it on air. I have gone to several gay and lesbian clubs with my date and had a pretty good time. Okay, the only time I got a little uncomfortable was when what I thought was a girl turned out to be a guy, decided to give me a kiss on the cheek. That was slightly uncomfortable. But that was it. I laughed it off. We ended up, I don't know, which one they identified with, but we ended up having a drink together. It doesn't fucking matter.
There's one of the bars that I used to go to down here. There was a gentleman that is gay. And he always hit on all the guys, especially if you had a bald head. And he did it, tactfully and jokingly. He would throw jokes, And he knew I was married. I told him, I turned him down. I, thanked him. It was respectful. And we joked since then. But one day I was sitting there at the bar, and these 2 rednecks, and I shouldn't say rednecks because anybody has these tendencies, really started to lay into him about him being gay. And it was like I just all of a sudden had enough, and I started going off on the guys. And the guy I know that's gay is like, no, you don't have to do that. I understand. I'm like, no, they don't need to act like dickheads. You're a human being. You prefer sex with a different way than they prefer. No one has a right to judge. But for them to go out and murder, and more's coming out. Shit, I just closed it by mistake. I want to read the article on CNN that popped up, so I don't get Land-based it for only going to conservative sites. Yeah, and me and you got to talk because, I got in-laws in this weekend. Yeah, there was two major, I don't want to say arguments, but, yeah, we'll talk off-air about it because we're going to go off-air pretty soon.
Well, I got some acronyms for that, but
all right.
go ahead.
West Hollywood suspect in custody after arsenal camouflage outfit. Authorities took a suspect into custody in West Hollywood, California, after discovering an arsenal in his car that included explosive powder, assault weapons, and a camouflage outfit. It's citing unnamed authorities. The suspect told authorities that he was there for Los Angeles Pride Festival, which is underway this weekend. We're assisting our local partners, Los Angeles FBI spokeswoman told CNN. She would not provide additional detail. This was going on right after we just had a major shooting in Orlando and an LGBT community nightclub. So, you want to give any last comments before we go off the air, or...
No, I just, honestly, it just bracketing thing. I'm not saying that the guy in L.A. didn't have nefarious purposes, but honestly, it's just that stupid word, assault weapons. Any weapon used for the purpose of assaulting another person is an assault weapon by definition. It's a freaking misnomer just used to drive fear and everything else. Okay? It's just, I don't know. You know what? You want to release details, release the goddamn details. Don't use PR words.
Yeah, and
tell us what was going on. I mean, honestly, it's nothing more than incite fear.
But this one, I mean, I'm sorry, you have a shooting in Orlando, and now on the West Coast they intercepted. They knew something. I'm sorry to go. Oh, there was a car full of arsenals. No, you knew something.
You know they didn't.
Or they had
didn't
information.
Find that in reaction to what happened in Orlando. People were already on alert for something.
They were on alert, and what happened in Orlando triggered them to take extra actions
quicker. Yeah. The only thing I want to say in closing, if we're going off the air, is don't give the SOB so much publicity. Don't give him so much thought. Why don't you put your thoughts and your prayers with the victims and their families who are now going to suffer the rest of their lives without their loved ones.
Exactly.
All because of some moron. And that's all he is.
Yeah, and actually one of the discussions I had with my in-laws, my mother-in-law turned around and said one of the things the news has to do is stop putting it on the news so much. And we both agreed that the shootings are on a all-time low, and the TV has to stop. And this, I understand they're putting it on because this is a little bit more than the other stuff they put on. But we have to stop sensationalizing these shooters and giving them so much time, but we also have to hit this head on and stop sticking our head in head in the sand on these attacks. And with that, we're going to head off air. Everybody have a safe Sunday afternoon to finish the weekend, and keep everybody in your thoughts and prayers. This has been the Reverb. Where did my mouse go? There it is. This has been the Reverb of Common Sense. I'll see you tomorrow, 11 a.m. Actually, tonight at 9 o'clock on SHR Media, I will be guest hosting on Dan the Man Butcher's program to discuss more about the Orlando shooting. Till then. You've been listening to the Reverb of Common Sense with its host, Jersey Joe. You can tune in every day, Monday through Friday, 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, right here on hppundit.com and shrmedia.com.